This one is called the quarterback. I was previously calling it a football grip butterfly because that made sense in my head because it is a football grip. And then we were keeping a foot on the pole, kind of like a butterfly. But apparently it's called the quarterback, which also makes sense because it's a football grip. So anyways, regardless of what you want to call it, quarterback is going to come from, in this entrance, a brass monkey. Okay, there are other ways to get into it, but I find that this is my preferred way, and I find the best way to get stability in the arm position. Okay, so let's real quick talk about the arm position before we talk about what's happening with the legs, because there's a lot of moving parts here. Arm position for the football grip. When we're in it, we're down here holding the football. Your top arm, you want the crack, or as I like to call the butt crack of your elbow, to be on the pole. Okay, sometimes people will place this arm on the pole and they'll let it come out, the butt crack starts coming up, and then once you're in the move, your elbow is going to slip. Okay, so you want to make sure that the crease or butt crack of your elbow is on the pole, and then you can even wrap your hand a little bit farther so it gives you a little additional contact point on that forearm. Okay, so that's what's happening with the top arm. The bottom arm is going to be a forearm push. Okay, so similar as you would for like a forearm climb, you've got your hand to one side, your elbow coming to the other side, and you're pushing with it. You don't want to have it perfectly lined up because then it might fall off either side. So you do want to have it on a slight diagonal, not an extreme diagonal because that puts a lot of pressure on the wrist, but a slight diagonal, okay? So that your elbow comes just barely to one side and your hand comes just barely to the other, okay? And that's gonna vary slightly the exact angle person to person, okay? How far apart to put your hands? Ideally, the farther apart your hands are, the more stability you're going to have in this move, especially if you are hoping to take your quarterback out into a football grip Aisha. But that being said, everybody's body is different lengths, ratios, torso, arms, all of those things. So you might not be able to put your arms as far apart as another person. Okay, so how far apart can you put your arms? When you place the top arm, when we go to put the bottom arm on, think about placing it as far away as you can, but you still have at least part of your forearm touching. Okay, you don't want to put it so far apart that you can't even get your forearm onto the pole because then that's going to put a lot of strain on the shoulders. Okay, it's all about working smarter, not harder. Okay, so we're going to get into this from a brass monkey. However you want to get into your brass monkey, you can drop down into it, you can kick up into it, you can press into it. Shoulder mount is a very popular way. Like I said, whatever your preferred entrance is to get into it, okay? And you don't have to be very high off the ground. Like I said, you can just kick up into this one because our bottom arm isn't going to be straight. It's going to be shifting to that forearm. So this is a great one to do low to the ground. So getting into your brass monkey. From your brass monkey, you're going to stick your booty out so that there's space for an outside arm, leg, that other appendage, to swivel around, and I want my heel to rest on the pole of the outside leg heel, okay? Once that heel is in place, my bottom arm is going to slide up and shift and sink to that forearm position. Once the bottom arm is in place, I can start to let that top leg come away to enter into. And then you can rehook to come out, back into your brass monkey, okay? So that's the general gist of it. Now let's talk about the nitty gritty of what's going on. First of all, just to be able to get that button position so you can get that heel on the pole, you want to think about placing your heel, Achilles, that little divot right behind your heel, on the pole, and that's going to be your lifeline in this move, just like this, okay? Depending on your internal rotation, size of your thighs, torso, once again, everybody's body is different. Some people might need to stick their booty out more than others, okay? So if you get here and you're like, I can't get my heel on, stick your butt out more and you'll be able to get that heel on, okay? So that's one of the troubleshooting things. Sometimes people get into this and they're like, there's no way I'm getting my heel there. Stick your booty out. You can stick it out as much as you want, okay? When in doubt, stick your butt out, okay? So stick the booty out to be able to get that heel on. Once that heel is in position, that bottom arm moves up. Once the bottom arm is in position, you want to think of engaging your upper back to lock in your arms. Okay, so it's not just that I put my arms there and I just kind of happen to magically sink down and they support my body. No, my top arm, I'm pulling with that shoulder. My bottom arm, I'm pushing with that shoulder. Okay, so the motion of it is kind of an upper back engagement. Okay, so once my arms are in position, think of, huh. Okay, so you can think of pushing your chest into the pole, but when I say pushing your chest in, it's not just a smushing your chest in the pole, it's a lifting your chest towards the pole. And you'll feel when you do that, you'll feel your shoulders lock in that much more when you do that, okay? So from the brass, booty sticks out, leg swivels, get that heel on, bottom arm shifts up, stick your chest out. Okay, to be able to release that second leg, or, well, that was originally the first leg. I know it gets confusing. The leg that's gonna come off the pole to make this a quarterback. Initially, it can feel a little bit scary. So with this quarterback, it's very similar to like an elbow Aisha. The way that it locks in place is by leaning away, okay? So when you do go to release that leg, you wanna think of leading with your butt to get into the quarterback. If you try to keep your butt too close and keep that leg on, you're gonna feel like you're gonna slide, okay? So this is one of those moves, you need to lean away so that this ankle and these arms will really catch in, okay? So booty out, ankle hooks, bottom arm, stick your chest out, stick your booty out, lead with your butt to take that leg off, okay? One of the things that I love about this move is A, you can do it super low, okay, because that bottom arm isn't a form. B, with this one, if it goes horribly wrong, you're gonna come down on your feet, okay? An elbow Aisha, a handspring that has a straight arm, those I am always very concerned if someone is trying to do them before they're ready. And I'm a stickler for technique and the stepping stones criteria before I'll allow my students or encourage my students to move to that, because you can hurt your shoulders if you don't do it correctly. With this one, the nice thing is that the arms are here. You're not very likely to smush your shoulders, okay? So let's look at if this was to go horribly wrong, okay? So if I get into my brass monkey, booty out, ankle, bottom arm goes in place, I start to go into it, ta-da, okay? Worst thing, you're gonna come down here. That's one of the things that I love about this move is that there's much less margin for error. I mean, definitely don't try it 10 feet up for the first time, but you're not gonna like jam a shoulder, your hand's not gonna slip and whack your face on the pole. You're already hugging the pole, so your feet are just gonna come down, okay? So just keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to let your butt come away from the pole in this, because worst case scenario, you're gonna come down on your feet, okay? So now let's look at best case scenario. You come out with a gorgeous quarterback. So let's do all those things, but we're gonna let our butt come away from the pole. Okay, so once again, get into your brass monkey however you want to, doesn't matter. Okay, so from our brass, booty sticks out, outside leg swizzles, get that heel on the pole, bottom arm slides up, make sure that top arm is getting to the crease of the elbow. I'm gonna push with my bottom forearm as I let this other leg come away, and I'm pushing my chest into the pole. To get out of it, bring that other leg in and you can rehook into your brass. Okay? I mean, there's multiple options for getting out, but that I would say is the most direct right there. Or of course, coming down your feet. Okay, so this is the quarterback. It does work on spin or static, but that being said, I would encourage you to start with it on static, because this is a move that the spin definitely does alter the technique just a little bit. It's easier to find your stability and your balance with this one on static than it is on spin, especially if you're planning on taking it to the elbow Aisha, but that's a tutorial for another day, okay? So try it out. Try it on static first. If it feels comfortable on static and you wanna try it on spinning, if you're a big fan of spinning like myself, then try it on spin, but get a feel for it first of like where everything goes with it. Play around with it, put it together in a combo with some of your favorite moves, make it your own, bust out a badass quarterback.